Saying, listen, Joe, you've got a small dick. My dick is bigger than yours. And then Joe Biden's like, fuck it! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the greatest show on YouTube. I'm your host, Ibrahima, Bad Guy Ibra, that's my YouTube channel name. And today, I'm excited to talk about the US. Obviously, it's the aftermath of like the first US presidential debate between former Vice President Joe Biden and their current president. I'm in no position to judge the geezer, but for my books, he's a fucking clown. You know, like the clown emoji on Instagram. On your phone, the clown emoji. That's what he is, clown. And honestly, mate, the debate from the start, yeah, my main goal was to, should I say, analyze body language and how both of these people are reacting to each other. For example, when Joe Biden speaks, what I've noticed is anytime Joe Biden is focused on actually speaking to the people of America, like he'd be like, to my American people, the healthcare system is dying and Donald, this clown, this fool right here, I don't even want to speak to you, shut up, man. When he's saying that he's speaking to the people, you always notice how Donald Trump just always interrupts all the time by saying, listen, your son's a bad person, your son's got £1 million from a country that's not needed, £1 million for his son, I don't know how he got it, but he fucking got it. And then Joe Biden, from what he gets distracted from what he was saying, now he's arguing with Donald Trump. I believe that was like Donald Trump's tactic in basically trying to, should I say, divert every good point that Joe Biden has to say. So yeah, but with Donald Trump's side, I was actually surprised that he was able to articulate himself properly, because I thought the geezer was a joke and I thought he was never going to win this second election. But obviously most of the things he was saying I do not agree with, but the way he was articulating himself can be convincing to other people. Though I don't agree with most of the things he was saying, some people would find it convincing and vote for him. However, there's no like clear winner or loser in my opinion. However, if you could talk about persuasion, for example, I would say Joe Biden is persuading more people than Donald Trump, to be honest. That's my personal opinion. I'm not trying to take sides, if I'm being honest. I'm just trying to speak from what I've seen. And then the question came about race, and Donald Trump was asked to talk about white supremacy. And there's like a group, a white supremacist group called Proud Boys, and Trump was asked to talk about, not to just talk about it, but should I say denounce that particular racist group. And he was like, Proud Boys, stand down, stand back, stand down and stand back, something like that. Proud Boys, stand down and stand back. Yeah. And then that isn't denouncing them. It's just saying to those people to stand down and stand back, which means that just stand down, yeah, but when something happens, then you can always come back and fight and all of that stuff. And that particular white supremacist group then had on their page stand down and stand back. Not on their page, but like their merchandise, their clothing brand or whatever. Proud Boys, stand back and stand down. So he can't denounce. I can't understand why he wouldn't want to denounce them, obviously white supremacist group. But on the other hand, he does get a lot of votes from these people. So denouncing them would mean that these people are not going to vote for him. You know what I mean? So if you understand what I mean. But again, regardless of what it is, to be honest, like you should never really, you shouldn't be a president that promotes white supremacy. I'm not saying he does, but he does kind of encourage that shit. Like if Obama would have been president, you wouldn't have seen white supremacist people voting for Obama, because there's a reason why they wouldn't vote for Obama. And even though Obama was asked to call them out, if for example Barack Obama was asked to call these people out by name, for example, white supremacist group, and denounce them completely, he would happily do it. But because Obama's a black person, those people would never had voted for Obama anyway, because they're white supremacists. However, with Donald Trump, you can see how he wouldn't want to denounce these people. I wouldn't say I would understand, because white supremacy is a plague, is a bad thing. We need to accept that. But again, I mean, he gets votes from these people, so yeah. And then talking about the greatest economies, that Trump had mentioned that since he's been president, it's been America's greatest time when it comes to economic growth, which I don't know because I don't live in America. But if he says the greatest, like I wouldn't believe that necessarily, because maybe there had been a president, maybe Barack Obama actually had a better boom on the economy than Trump had. I don't know, to be honest, but there's no statistical data to prove what Trump is saying is actually accurate. So I really can't comment on that, to be honest. And Joe Biden actually called him a clown, and he called him all sorts of names under the sun, the bright sun. And the US presidential first debate was a disaster, in my opinion, because what I've noticed was the debate at the start was going smooth. Actually, both parties actually did show respect at the start of the debate to each other, but then Donald Trump started interrupting the debate anytime Joe Biden has something knowledgeable to say, something that very logical that American people could listen to. Trump just jumps in, listen, Joe, you've got a small dick, my dick is bigger than yours. And then Joe Biden is like, fuck it, fuck this guy. And then the debate just goes to another level. And so I remember watching that 1 hour, 30 minutes of the debate and just like, oh God, Trump, would you shut the fuck up, seriously? No, I wouldn't shut up. I wouldn't shut up. And I'm so mad about that, to be honest, really mad about it. And I'm waiting, yeah, for like people in general, because the debate happens, and generally nowadays it was normal for people to have a go at Donald Trump, but now it's always a thing where the other guy is the one that these people, obviously I'm not trying to call out Joe Rogan, but Joe Rogan has a podcast, and in his podcast sometimes he does have people who have very right wing or sometimes alt-right views, and then these people are going to come there and just have a go at the left wing, Antifa, all of that. Joe Rogan just agrees with them, and he loves these people. However, do you notice how these people can happily call out Antifa, but they would never call out these white supremacist groups like Proud Boys, the neo-Nazis? It's like, wait, Joe Rogan, you're happily calling out Antifa, going, Antifa's so destructive and all of that. Put in Portland, look what's happening, it's chaos. You'd happily call those people out, yeah, but you would never, never, never call out white supremacist groups. Listen, I'm not calling you racist, Joe Rogan. I love you. I love your content. I know. I mean, you're a UFC commentator, a comedian. I'm a fan of comedy. I'm a fan of the UFC as well. But maybe if you're calling out Antifa and saying Antifa bad, destructive and that, you should also be able to call out white supremacist groups. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. So, yeah. And I just simply believe that Proud Boys, as they call themselves, are the biggest plague, to be honest. Antifa, when you check the statistics, probably have never caused any death really to anyone, or maybe there's few, but with white supremacist groups, mate, there's so many damage that's been done to people inflicted by white supremacist groups like the Proud Boys. And there was one in England where like there was an MP by the name of Joe Cox, like a Labour MP, who got killed by a white supremacist person because Joe Cox just believes in equality. You know what I mean? Wants Muslims to have a good life in this country, wants black people to have a good life. Equality, a very liberal left-wing person sort of thing like myself. And then she got murdered by a white supremacist person in 2016. And it was just heartbreaking, to be honest, really heartbreaking. So maybe before we spend time calling out Antifa, though they might use aggressive tactics trying to gain equality and trying to get rid of white supremacy, but guess what? Their goal is to eliminate white supremacy on the surface of this planet, regardless of what you think the movement is. You might call it a Marxist movement. Unless, if you hate Antifa, for example, then you're just saying, I support white supremacy, and go on, like, if that's what you're doing. So again, what I'm trying to implicate on is that Antifa is a group. Sometimes they do things that I don't necessarily agree with. They break things and do all of that. However, they're not remotely as bad as Proud Boys, the EDL, all of these white supremacist groups. Like this, it's not even a comparison. And so we need to accept this fact, and we need to call out these white supremacist groups by their names, not Antifa. And well, we could call them out sometimes. It's just that going around breaking stuff and burning buildings unnecessarily. Keyword unnecessarily. However, the people doing most of the damage is white supremacy. White supremacy is the biggest threat on the surface of this planet, and we as people need to accept that, and we need to fight white supremacy to bring change, equality, and diversity to this planet. So, until next time, adios.